two old guard USL rivals meet on this Wednesday evening in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Welcome to the Steel City in the banks of the Monongahela River. Highmark Stadium is the site for Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC against Richmond Kickers on ESPN+. I'm Matt Geico alongside Paul Child and Gene Klein, and it's a rare situation, in fact, a unique situation for the Riverhounds this year under first-year head coach Bob Lilly. They've lost back-to-back matches and have dropped to fourth in the Eastern Conference. And Paul, it all started 2 weeks ago. The Hounds did everything but score against Charleston Battery, but here you see Atula Guerra putting in the winner in the 88th minute. And then last week at North Carolina FC, a last-second loss again. So, yeah, things going a little bit sideways for Pittsburgh now.
Yeah, they are. It was a shame with that goal because it was late in the game, and I think that Nico Brett had just missed a penalty kick, and everybody was kind of down, and this just, they went down the other end of the field and put a good cross in and scored a goal.
The tough one last week at North Carolina. The Hounds actually rallied to tie that one up before giving up the winner. As for the Richmond Kickers, well, it hasn't been much to talk about this season. There you see their 1-7-0 road record, a proud franchise, but in 14th place out of 16 teams in the Eastern Conference, Gene Klein.
Yeah, you can see their road record, Matt, 1-7, minus 17 goal differential, which really is unheard of for the Kickers. They're going to try to put some games together here that I'm sure they're going to get them back on a positive note. David Bullo's taken over for Lee Calichel, and he's going to try to get them on the right track.
Yeah, so a coaching change hasn't produced the results just yet, but the Kickers turn the calendar page here. Cristiano Francois might be one Riverhound who wishes that July could just continue on forever because he had two absolute highlight reel goals. You'll see one here against North Carolina FC on the 4th of July. He added one last week. And Paul, the chances were coming for him, and the pace is always there for Cristiano, but now the ball's starting to go in.
No, it is. It's good to see that because he's been getting a lot of chances. We've seen him, and you can see he takes these players on, cuts inside, and looks up, and got a great rocket shot that puts away.
Yeah, an underrated shot for Francois. We've seen him unleash it 4 times now on the season behind opposing keepers. As for the Richmond Kickers, they do have one individual success they can trumpet here. Brian Shriver, the veteran pro, 6 goals, 6 assists, also leads the team in shots and shots on goal. Gene, he's the player to watch right at the top of that formation.
Yeah, the Kickers are really going to count on him to try to find the back of the net and keep them in games. He's a veteran player. He can hit free kicks with quality, as you see here. And he's an experienced guy coming from the NASL, Jacksonville Armada. He's been around the block a little bit, and they're going to look to him for some leadership.
The Hounds are trying to stay in the USL's playoff zone, currently 4th in the East. Richmond's just trying to look for something good to build off of in the second half of the season. We're getting ready for the 40th all-time meeting between these two teams. They've been going at it since 1999. Kickoff coming up from Pittsburgh after this on ESPN+.
Now, where does it hurt the most when you have it all?
It started really hurting, and it would really hurt if I stood on it.
It's a little patellar tendonitis or jumper's knee is the other thing.
How's that feel?
It feels better.
Call 412 Doctors for a same-day appointment at Allegheny Health Network.
Don't miss out on any of the action from the Pittsburgh Riverhounds this summer. It's First Responder Night on Saturday, August 18th, when the Hounds face off against the Charlotte Independents for a 7 p.m. match. All active and retired first responders will receive a free ticket, plus a special discount offer to all family and friends. Then, on Wednesday, August 22nd, the Tampa Bay Rowdies come to town for a special Wednesday showdown at 7 p.m. Gates open at 5:30 p.m. Purchase your tickets at riverhounds.com.
Park stuck the landing.
Through the years, you've done right by investing in your home. And now, you can use that equity to borrow money for the things you need. With a low 1.99% APR and no fees, you can apply for a home equity loan online and use the money to upgrade to that minivan, make home improvements, or finance college. At Clearview, we can help you find ways to use the equity in your home for more important things. Let us help. Visit us online for more information. Clearview Federal Credit Union, the next generation of personal banking.
The Riverhounds Technical Training Academy is back this winter at the AHN Sports Complex at Cool Springs. The 15-session program runs from December to March and is loaded with skills development taught by professional players from around the world. Registration opens in August. Sessions begin December 1st. Find out more by emailing wintertraining@riverhounds.com or by calling 412-325-7238.
Pittsburgh and Richmond set to square off for the 40th time since 1999. Here are your starting lineups. It's the first of 2 games for both teams this week, so we're seeing some different looking lineups. First, for the Richmond Kickers, that you see there on your screen on ESPN+. Trevor Spangenberg gets his second start of the season against the Riverhounds. Troyer, Pittsburgh native Connor Shinosky, Williams and Yearwood across the back, Bolduc, Gonzalez, Owusu, Sechere, and Halavati in the middle, Gentile and Shriver are your 2 forwards, the 4-4-1-1 for head coach David Bullo. For Bob Lilly, it's the second straight game with a 4-4-2 out there. Dan Lind at the back, as he has been throughout most of this season. First year as Riverhound between the sticks. Andrew Lubon gets a rare start. Pratzner, Roberts, and Dover join him on the back line. Noah Frankie gets his second start of the season. Zemansky, Vunkiazil, and Dabo also in the middle. And Nico Brett's back out there with Cristiano Francois at the top. Brett missed last week's game at North Carolina FC with a neck injury. The head referee is Charles Murphy, assisted by Amilcar Sakaju and Aaron Vavrizniak. Off we go from Pittsburgh. The Riverhounds trying to break a 2-game losing streak. Richmond has been in a funk for longer than that, so stakes pretty high for the 1st of August here in the USL. Dan Lind will drive it down the field.
Yeah, that's a long, high ball down there. We don't have the biggest players up front either, Matt, so I'm sure this is just from the start of the game. They're just trying to clear it out and make no mistakes early on.
It's definitely a rotation look for Bob Lilly this week because we have no Joe Greenspan. He's on the bench. So is Kevin Kerr. So is Kenardo Forbes. And so is Ray Lee, all usual starters. So at least 4 there will begin on the bench. And then Romeo Parks, you want to throw in a 5th. He's been rotating the starts with Nico Brett sometimes. He's not even dressed for today's match. So getting some time off after he was pulled from the game at North Carolina in the first half. Coach Bob Lilly not pleased with Romeo Parks in that one, although he said afterward he's just trying to get the most out of him.
Yeah, I think you've got to do that sometimes, especially when you've just lost 2, you know, and this is why he's changed probably 4 players right now and trying to wake them up on the bench as well, because they're going to be eager to get back in and do well. So I'm sure that, you know, there's method in his madness.
Vunkiazil commits the foul, knocking Fred Owusu Sechere down, and he's reaching for his jaw, the 32-year-old from Ghana. 4th season with the Kickers. Appears to have shaken that off. And Richmond, dressed in white with the red trim, will have the first free kick of this one. There's Noah Frankie getting in the way of it. Former Creighton Blue Jay makes the play up the near side touchline. Brett, fine flick with the side of his foot. Now Vunkiazil tried to play Brett into the box, but it was broken up.
A little bit unlucky there. If it had gone through, I think Nico Brett would have been one-on-one with the keeper.
So a sprightly bit of play from the Riverhounds on the right flank. Noah Frankie just played once this year in USL action against Nashville. That was way back on May the 30th, though. He had 2 shots, and I think all of us thought that he was pretty impressive in his Hounds debut. But now he gets a chance here in a midweek matchup. On the far side, it's Matt Bolduc. Bolduc, the 2nd-year kicker, skies one over the top of Dan Lind's goal.
He wants that one back, I'm sure, because he did a great job going past the defender there and had plenty of time, and then just hit the ball way over the back end of the field.
Again, I am Matt Geico. Paul Child and Gene Klein are alongside. Just heard from Paul there. Gene, as always, is scanning the formations. What do you see from the Hounds here so far? We're used to a 5-man back line from Bob Lilly for a while at least. Now back to a 4.
Yeah, we are, and he's pretty settled in with a straight 4-4-2. They're trying to keep it very compact, Matt, and really try to look for, I think, Spring Francois and Nico Brett on some counters, and also trying to take a good look at how Richmond wants to play. And it looks like really, you know, I know they put their lineup with 4 in the back, but it really looks like they're in a 3 with Brandon Troyer kind of holding that 6th spot, the defensive holding spot, in front of Mikael Williams. So we'll see how it plays out with Lavarte's in the middle, along with Fred Owensuekanare. I'll try that one again. But those 3 are going to hold down the midfield.
Here's Cristiano Francois, 2 goals in the month of July, now second on the team. He has passed Parks with 4 goals. And that ball's ruled to be off his foot last. Easy to spot the 24-year-old from Haiti with the bleached haircut over on the far wing. Also easy to spot because he has electrifying speed, one of the quicker players in all of USL. At least in the matches I've seen and the teams I've seen play. Obviously, we're biased toward the Eastern Conference, but I can't imagine there are many faster than Francois.
No, this guy can really move. When he changes gear, he goes right by these defenders, and they wonder what the heck they've got to do to try and catch him.
Now he's starting to show some impressive foot skill, too. As here's Todd Prassner back. The native of Lancaster, PA, swats this one ahead. Brett is after it, but Miko Williams now has the ball at his foot, rather, as he won it just inside the touchline and got some help from his keeper, Spangenberg. The captain of the Kickers, Shriver, sends it up and offside here.
Yeah, Shriver came back pretty deep to collect that one, Matt, and then try to play something in behind Luban.
The Riverhounds work it out of the back as Roberts, the former kicker, all-pro. In fact, all USL Pro, I should say.
Oh, this is a great opportunity.
Here's a nice bounce for Nico Brett into the area.
Oh, goal!
Brilliant.
Nico Brett gets a break, and he takes advantage. Brett shoots to thrill his 9th goal of the season. Number 9 is back on the board for the first time in nearly 2 months. 1-0 Hounds.
The Richmond Kickers are going crazy here with the referee. I don't know what they're looking for, like thinking that something was offside or something like that. But as I said, just before Nico Brett got the ball, that's a great ball, and he took it really well, and it just bounced perfectly for him, and he stuck that thing right away.
Yeah, I think they were looking for an offside, Paul.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, because off that deflection, he's in an offside position.
It was close. If you look at the edge of the screen when that ball is played, Brett looks to be almost even, if not a little bit past Williams, who was the second to last defender. And now Charles Murphy, who we see quite a bit here at Highmark Stadium, refereeing games. He's getting an earful from 3 kickers.
Yeah, I'm surprised he's putting up with it, to be honest with you. He's already discussed it with his linesman, and now it is a goal, and we're going to be a center kick.
You see David Bowler going over to talk to the assistant referee on this side, but it's going to, the goal will stand, and the Riverhounds go up 1-0, which is great to see.
When you're trying to break a losing streak, even if it's just 2 matches, always important to have that early start. And the Hounds have it here at home, even though they may have gotten, well, 2 breaks because of the bounce, and then possibly Brett was offside. At any rate, it was rather close. And Spangenberg had no chance. That's the key part of it for Pittsburgh, and Brett, he tucked that one away.
Yeah, really difficult from where we are in the booth to determine whether or not he had that step or when the ball was played to him. But we're going to let it go. It counts. Riverhounds go up 1-0, and honestly, I think that's the last thing that David Billow and the Kickers wanted was to concede an early goal.
Exactly. And look at this. Here's another bounce. And
Brett running on, my goodness, and Brett was offside this time. We see the official, the assistant referee with his flag up in front of us.
And the referee just letting it play on because they had possession of the ball, Matt. So it's looking a little bit nervous, Richmond, right now.
Really?
Every time the Hounds attack, it seems like they're in a real rush to get rid of the ball. They don't want to get caught with it, but they're making some mistakes too.
Richmond in an 0-2-1 slump. In fact, they've given up now 21 goals in their past 9 matches plus 5 minutes. Well, and they've been very porous this season. 39 allowed on the season, third most in the Eastern Conference.
That's hard to believe for a Richmond Kickers team that, of course, we did battle so many years, Paul, with, and it was so tough to go down, you know, to get a goal off them. So it is a bit of a struggle for them. And as I said, I think this is the last thing that they wanted was to concede an early goal because now, you know, a lot of teams would come back here, try to sit in a little bit and make it really difficult for the Hounds and hang on. And
Williams having trouble again with Brett hounding him.
And now the game will have to open up a little bit. So.
Yeah.
Williams is saying, I was on an island there, guys. I need some help. And it's worth remembering, Richmond plays on a natural surface. Yeah. The Riverhounds have this rather bouncy turf here at Highmark Stadium.
He was thinking the same thing I was, Matt, because I just noticed that 2 or 3 times now with this bounce. And
Gentile lets one go, but
it was way offside.
He was offside by a good bit on that long ball from Williams. Giuseppe Gentile, from Miami, Florida. He's one of the 2 forwards in this formation for David Bulow. Just in his first handful of games as a head coach at this level, 38 years old. He had 102 appearances for the Richmond Kickers as a player. 34 goals in those 102 matches.
I think a few of them were painfully against the Riverhounds also.
Probably.
The 2 men to my left and right did some coaching for the Hounds for many years. So, yes, they have memories from upstairs here with me and also down on the sideline. This ball bounces through and out for a goal kick. Well, maybe not this sideline necessarily, gentlemen, but other places around Western Pennsylvania where the Hounds call it home.
Yeah, too many.
Pretzner did really well there. He just did what he needed to let that ball run out. And kind of strange to see him back in the middle there without Greenspan. You know, that big figure of 6'6", I think it is. And but I'm sure he's going to do a good job.
I think one of the things Richmond's going to have to sort out right away is that they're really struggling a little bit with their shape in their back line. As I mentioned earlier, they have, you know, Williams and Shinosky and Yearwood here, and Troyer's pushed in the middle of them, but with a lot of times we've seen Yearwood go way up, you know, go pretty high up the field, and that has left Williams by himself with Nico Brett, and I don't think he wants to be in that position. So
no, definitely.
Noah Frankie causing some trouble for the Kickers here on the near side touchline.
Looks like they've dropped 5 back now, Gino, after that goal, that quick goal. It seems like Richmond's got 5 players.
Well, they'll bring back, they're going to bring back Troyer, Yearwood. They have Bolduc who's also out wide. So they might just try to
absorb a little bit.
Yeah, sit back a little bit deeper and keep their lines a little bit deeper, Paul, to try to, until they settle down a little bit and get in some rhythm of play.
Yeah, really.
Richmond concedes the foul. Different look for the Hounds on the flanks with Frankie on the near side, Lubon on the other side. Frankie helped win that foul, and now Ben Zemansky wearing the captain's armband with Kevin Kerr on the bench. We'll take a look at this one, as will Andrew Lubon.
Yeah, good to see Ben back. I know he struggled with a little groin issue.
The left footer right to the back post, and it's punched by Spangenberg over the byline. Thomas Vankiazil was lurking, looking for his second USL goal.
That terrific delivery there by Lubon into that back post, and Spangenberg did well to get a fist on it.
Players complaining a lot to the referees. So I don't know, you're going to see it here. Number 55 goes down and falls over. 2 players colliding. I think it... here's a good cross, too.
Francois sends it, and Vankiazil was bumped, but not hard enough by Williams to draw the call. This will go out to Richmond.
Yeah, that's 2 confrontations in a row that Williams has been involved with. Once with Pratzner and now with Vankiazil.
Thomas Vankiazil well up the pitch as compared to last week. He was almost the 5th defender at North Carolina. The Riverhounds absorbed a lot of pressure early in that one, but they're on the front foot here at home, as they usually are. And Vankiazil might be a good example for that. He played center back in college at University of Charleston, but he's been mostly a midfielder here. Quick throw from Frankie, and he gets it right back from Brett, the goal scorer. Ripped away by Austin Yearwood, who simply clears out over the sideline.
Yeah, Frankie there was a little bit quick giving it Nico Brett, and it caught him by surprise, and then didn't get such a quality ball back. So, you know, I think he's just got to calm down a little bit more. He's been in the game for 12 minutes. He needs to kind of get his wind in his legs, and as you said, he doesn't play too many games.
Frankie handled that one after he was bumped. He thought he drew another call, and I thought he did too. The assistant Sakaju says, calm down.
You're a bit biased though, Matt, you know that.
Obviously. We all are in our own ways, aren't we?
Yes.
Williams will take a look at this one. The 28-year-old from Trinidad and Tobago. 20 caps for the national team for TNT. Miko Williams sends it up in the direction of Gentile, who was yanked down, apparently, by Ben Zemansky.
Boy, I was surprised at that call, but...
yeah, I think Pratzner was behind him, maybe, and had a little... but Gentile was just smart and leaning back into him and drew the foul.
He looked like he was in a lazy boy chair when he was leaning back on him. That's what made me wonder about it. But here's an opportunity for Richmond now, and you know they're usually pretty good on dead ball situations, you know. They've scored a lot of goals this way.
Yeah, we'll see. They have
It's Yearwood and Shriver standing over this one.
Yeah.
And we saw Shriver nail one in the opener. In the opening of this broadcast, I mean, he has 6 on the season, so we know he can strike from everywhere.
Yeah. A little bit far out for him. He's you know, the one we saw in the highlights.
Yeah, is he going to look to go for maybe the Yearwood's going to take
Run
it.
by Yearwood, a low one into the mix. Oh boy, Vunky Azil almost got kicked in the face. Dangerous play.
Yeah.
And Gentile apologizes to Thomas Vunky Azil.
Yeah, and I think there was a push there before that also.
Quite possibly so.
Yeah, that was a dangerous play for sure.
But the ball sent into the mix by Austin Yearwood.
Yeah, you see that.
Roberts was felled.
Yeah, Roberts was knocked down also. So
Hugh Roberts doesn't have many former teammates he's playing against today. Just a couple who were around in 16 when he was a kicker. Zemansky rises, heads one toward Vunky Azil off his leg, and now Roberts sends it right back. Dabo getting his 2nd consecutive start. Turns it over on the far flank for Francois. A good through ball here. This is Lubon crossing, and it's cleared away by Williams.
Yeah, Nico Brett really wasn't ready for that one. Zubon was kind of running out of real estate, and he had to take that cross quick. And Nico wasn't kind of on the same page.
Zemansky sent Raul Gonzalez down.
I really think there's going to be a lot of space on the flanks for Lubon and also for Dover coming up on this right flank. And
Brett forces the turnover. No. It's whistled back on a handball. Bad break there for the Hounds. That time as both Brett and Frankie were right there to strip it away. They would have had something. Had play continued, but it did not.
Kind of can feel this, Gino, that the Hounds are really picking it up right now because Richmond's getting 3 touches and then they're stealing the ball away, or they're making them make mistakes and winning it back.
Yeah, I think as you mentioned a few minutes ago, Paul, after that goal, they look very nervous. They're nervous on the ball, and nothing's really clean. It might be artificial surface or whatnot, but I also think the Hounds are putting a lot of pressure on them, not giving them any time and space in the midfield.
Exactly.
Oh, mercy. Look at that takeaway from Dabo. Once again wins a tackle. He's been great at that this year in his first Hound season. Vunky Azil has some room.
Francois
plays it square. Cristiano Francois.
You can see there's Lubon open again. Love to see he and Dover get forward, maybe get a little higher up the pitch and push the game a little more.
Owusu Sechere had the ball ripped away, but not legally, as it turns out. Another foul here against the Riverhounds. Zemansky, he's already racked up 3 in the opening 17 minutes.
He's lucky he hasn't got a yellow card there. I thought the referee was going to do that.
Yeah, and I think Charles Murphy is talking to Ben right now and saying, look, I got you 3 times, man. Any more, and you're going to get booked.
Zemansky, 30 years old, over 100 MLS appearances.
That was a good tackle there.
That was a great tackle.
As we look back here, Dover getting in there. Dabo ended up taking the ball. A wide play for Francois. He'll get there in time. It checked up
position,
right at his foot.
One there, Matt. Look.
Running in and letting it go. Spangenberg gets the stop.
Yeah, I saw it happening. I thought that was a perfect position for him. I think it was actually
because he had some space to go at him.
Yeah, really, and it was just one-on-one.
And you know, he had one little touch that was a little heavy. I was expecting Szymanski to close on him. And
Frankie, he wants a fire. Oh my! Noah Frankie nearly connecting for a second Hounds goal. The Riverhounds are all over Richmond at the moment. And that was Szymanski who Francois was running at. A deflected ball. Riverhounds have it again here. Dover, a deflected volley, and it's right into the belly of Spangenberg on a hop, who's screaming at his defenders.
Well, I think right now the flanks are wide open. I mean, we can see Lubon and Dover coming forward, but also when Nico Brett, and of course when Francois pulls out left, that is going to be very, very difficult for the kickers to contain.
And the Riverhounds are winning more than their share of the 50-50 balls, too. They're just stripping them away in the attacking third. Instant offense. Either a foul or a throw. I think it's a throw.
It's a throw-in, but I think referee got it wrong there, but linesman gave it that one.
So Yearwood to toss in. The first time these teams met on the season, the Hounds actually trailed 1-0, but scored 2 to pull out all 3 points at Richmond City Stadium. back at the start of June. And that helped them rebound from a loss. So will the kickers be the tonic again for Pittsburgh? Francois couldn't get through, but now he does. Second chance, he keeps working. And now Thomas Vanke is with a lot of room, and he couldn't put it through the legs of Troyer.
Yeah, Troyer did well there to pick that off, because if he does not get into that spot, Francois is behind him.
Yeah, he didn't quite catch just enough, wide enough past that player, because as you said, he was off to the races.
But he was on, and again, from that left flank, I just think that looks very vulnerable right now.
This has the feel of the match against Charleston, except the Battery were more organized in the back than Richmond is right now. They were able to absorb a little better. Richmond seems like it's teetering at the moment, and Bob Lilly giving instructions, as you see there, trying to keep his team aggressive.
Yeah, I think if I'm Bob right now, I'm telling us to really push the game.
Definitely, I would too, Gino. You know, we would. I think you've got to just jump on this while the fire's hot, you know. And
right, it doesn't last forever.
No.
And there is a giveaway from Dabo, and perhaps an opportunity for Gonzalez of Richmond. Wants to pull up, confronted by Zemansky. Sends it back slightly to Hlavati. Veteran pro. This is his 10th team. Gave it back to Sechere, but wires crossed for Richmond, and it's a goal kick.
Yeah, I mean, you know, what was really encouraging there was Dabo, terrible turnover in the midfield, but right away we had 6 back behind him, and very well organized. And I think Bob and the staff have to be very pleased with how they dealt with that counterattack, because right away there was shape, and the lines were very much together, which is not what we've seen. As you can see here, with the kickers are struggling a little bit to try to keep their lines together and to keep them cohesive.
For joining us late, Nico Brett scored the lone goal so far. The Hounds' leading goal getter is back on track after a few games off. His 9th of the season in the 5th minute has made it 1-0.
That's great for Brett. He needed that, and it should be really helpful for him now, because he's got to feel confident. If he doesn't get another one, I'm sure.
Nice touch, Frankie, a wonderful job to pull it down. Noah Frankie! Twice he's had looks like that, and twice he's just barely missed.
Yeah, great little touch from him out of the air to beat the defender, and then really accelerated well into space, and just caught that shot a little bit on the inside of his foot.
Caught it on the inside, and I was looking at it from here. We had a great view, and he just got around on it too much, and would love to get that one back and just adjust a little bit.
Well, if you're Noah Frankie, you're doing everything you can at the moment to try to
Make
a play for more playing time. Here's Francois breaking by. Francois in. Sliding tackle by Troyer. Saves a chance, but it's a corner kick Pittsburgh for the second time.
I think Connor Shanowski's in for a long night. He's struggling to deal with Francois. He has Lubon coming up that other side. That's a good matchup for the Riverhounds.
He was a little bit lucky there because Francois didn't go down, because if it had gone down, I think the referee, that would have been an automatic yellow card because he was going to goal. It could have even been a red. And he just clipped him just to try and slow him down, which he did.
Slight stoppage in play as Charles Murphy wants to have a chat. He's talking to Raul Gonzalez there. And Francois is ready to fire it into the mix again. And rising up, Hlavati got a noggin on it, but it's right back out. Corner kick coming on the near side now for the Riverhounds. Third corner kick is one of the freight trains rumbles by Highmark Stadium.
Nico Brett got put on the seat of his pants that time in the corner and was saying something again to the referees. There's a lot of tussling and pushing that's going on there.
Zemansky beyond the back post. Vanke Azil just got a touch. Now it's Francois. Vanke Azil volleying it in, and there's Todd Pratzner, the center back, trying to make something happen. Nearly did.
Yeah, it does well to keep it alive.
It did, really.
Kept it in. Richmond still under some pressure, and the kickers will be able to emerge with Troyer getting a touch, and now Shriver. Shriver holds up just a bit, pressured by Dover. Slides it to the open man Gonzalez.
Yeah, and we've got 9 men back already, and kind of slowed everything down for the Richmond kickers.
Bolduc, the winger, stripped by Francois. His work rate continues to be exemplary.
And here goes Nico Brett.
He's making a run. Does he get the ball? It's a little behind him, but he still knocks it right back to Vanke Azil. Tommy V back to Brett,
now they're
stretching out.
Again.
1 versus 4, and Spangenberg has to make a save. He can't believe it. He felt like someone should have closed out Brett. Didn't happen.
I think Brett was, as he scored a goal and he's ready to score another one. You can see right there, because normally he would have cut that back to the middle of the park. Frankie was really getting there quickly, and he just felt confident and was going to strike it, and he hit it really well. Keeper did well too.
Of Brett's 9 goals, 5 of them have come in multi-goal games. He had a hat trick against Toronto here in April, and a 2-spot against New York Red Bulls too in June. That was the last time he had scored, and Brett has his legs swatted out from under him by Troyer, 4th-year kicker. Well, we'll take another gander at Nico Brett as he reties his boots, or at least his left one.
I think you're going to see the keeper doesn't really think he's going to hit it, and
nearly beats him. Nearly caught him by surprise.
But you also saw Shinovsky there. You know, he's conceding a lot of space.
Yeah.
And Francois and Nico Brett, and when LeBon comes up from the left back spot, they're going to run at him. As you see, you know, they're looking for Francois there.
Connor Shinovsky, the longest tenured kicker. I mentioned born in Pittsburgh but raised in Northern Virginia, a DC United homegrown player, signed way back in 2010. The header from Yearwood slows things down for the kickers. Trevor Spangenberg settles and rolls out. Spangenberg, formerly of Puerto Rico FC of the North American Soccer League. Pulavati steps back to help out. And can the kickers make something happen? They're happy to string a few passes together at the moment.
Yeah, we haven't seen them do that too often yet. I'd like to see what the percentage-wise possession is. It's got to be pretty high for the Hounds.
Giuseppe Gentile has that broken up decisively by Roberts, who distributes a souvenir.
Gentile should have kept that a little bit tighter and let that very heavy touch to get away, and Roberts, you know, pounced on it.
Gentile, another member of Puerto Rico FC in past years, along with his keeper Spangenberg tonight. He rises up, does Gentile. It bounces free for Zemansky. Slugs it through the middle of the surface. 27th minute now. On a Nico Brett goal in the 5th minute, the Riverhounds lead at home. And for a team that's given up just 2 goals all year in USL play this season, that's already a daunting deficit for Richmond. Kickers team that's won just once away from City Stadium. A through ball comes free to Shriver, though. Shriver stepping past the referee
Good
Murphy.
ball from Shriver.
Yeah,
Bolduc's out there, puts it in on a hop, and Roberts upset with himself. He wanted to handle that better. He concedes the corner kick.
Yeah, Richmond's done a little bit better the last few minutes. They've settled down a little bit. They've had a couple build-ups from the back, as we saw there. And each time they've done that, they've been able to find Shriver in pockets in the midfield, and he's able to distribute them, you know, either wide or to find Gentile or one of the other players in the center. So they're certainly looking for him to build and try to get some rhythm out of the back to get back in the game.
Yeah, definitely.
Yearwood's going to put his left foot to work here. Lind over. Oh my, Gentile was unmarked, but he missed the header.
Yeah, he was there.
That was a great opportunity there for him. I know.
Not sure how he missed that one is Giuseppe Gentile.
Comes all the way over.
I think he just mistimed it and got up a little bit too soon.
Yes.
And caught him on the top of his head instead of his forehead and trying to drive it down. And obviously would love that one back.
Yeah, LeBon sort of got sucked in a little bit, and a couple of guys lost him. Danny Lynn was trying to point out somebody lost the mark on that play, and I think Gentile wants that back.
That's a rare concession of an open man on a restart for the Riverhounds this season. They've been pretty airtight on those. Brett pirouetting to give it to Frankie, but Frankie couldn't get it through Hlavati. On the run is Prasner to try to catch up with Gentile, who's been active. Gentile now holds. Prasner got some help, but the trip called against Dover.
Clipped his ankle as he was trying to run back with it. And another opportunity for Richmond again. 2 in the last couple of minutes.
The Riverhounds outshot Richmond 20-3 when they met in June. The most dominant performance in that category of the season for Bob Lilly's Riverhounds. They're on pace for a similar margin at the moment, but Richmond's getting its feet under it. And another restart chance. They'll send some bodies into the area.
I think they're looking for Williams, is it, at the far post?
Miko Williams, one of the center backs. Yeah, he's all the way over there being marked by Hugh Roberts at the moment.
Still, that's a good serve.
To the front door and a rebound. Karam's free and it's cleared by Brett out for the corner. Lind had to go after it and couldn't quite punch it away from traffic.
I mean, one of the most difficult saves at all for a keeper. A low driven in swinging ball. And Danny Lind did about all he could do. Yeah, he just could get a fist on that one. Maybe cleared a little bit higher, but yeah, because it was dangerous off the rebound. But a difficult ball, terrific serve by Shriver.
Yeah, he couldn't get under that one. It was real low, Gino, and he kind of just about reached it at the end. And
yeah, he was completely extended there, wasn't he, Paul? Like, so it's tough one to hold and catch, and just have to try to clear that out of there.
The throw goes back to Troyer. He puts it right back in, but Roberts takes care of that. And for Dan Lind, maybe a bad memory popping up because he punched the ball right to a North Carolina player last week on a similar type of a restart situation. Led to the winner in second half stoppage time. But Lind and the Hounds avoid any damage done. And now here they go back on the attack. Bunky Azil running through and finding Francois.
Here comes Francois.
Dragging it back, and another corner kick won. That's number 5 for the Riverhounds against just 1 for Richmond.
Nobody really looking open in the middle at that time, and he didn't have much choice. And I think he just thought, I can either get this back or get a free corner kick.
The Riverhounds, are loving the left flank right now. They're, the turf's wearing out over there. They're really going at it.
Roberts and Bunky Azil fighting for room out near the penalty spot. Bunky Azil couldn't take that service, which was into trouble by Francois. Out to Richmond. And Troyer tosses it back. Brett almost took it away from Bolduc. More trouble for the kickers, but they avoid it. And Williams in some open space, at least a few yards before Frankie confronts him. Richmond last year finished in 14th place in the East. 14th again is their spot. 18 points. Brett continues to cause havoc. Almost took that one away. Now the Hounds have a turnover. Brett fighting to get through Troyer. Unable to do so with a swim move. Lavati right back. Spangenberg just dumps it over the head of Frankie. Back out to the middle of the surface. Dabo. Well done to get a foot on it, but couldn't keep it in.
I'll give Richmond credit. I mean, they're trying to build out of the back, but they're so predictable with what they're doing now. I mean, Nico Brett's come very, very close a few times to picking one off. So
just kind of hovering around, isn't he, waiting for that one missed kick.
Spread out. They drop Troyer in there, spread out Williams and Yearwood to this left side. But the Hounds pretty much have it figured out and are waiting for them to make that one pass, and they're coming up high to pounce on it and close them down.
Neil Lavati has some room and a little bit of time. Stop and start move from Williams. Almost ran himself into a difficult spot, and he did. In fact, could not get it up ahead cleanly. Bunky Azil on it again for the Riverhounds. Thomas Bunky Azil now the only Hound to play all 19, or well, make it 20 matches. As Brett sat out last week, eliminated him from Ironman contention. Francois, sloppy pass there, and it's taken away. Gonzalez enforces the foul against Bunky Azil and the quick restart, so the kickers can switch play. Yearwood chesting and volleying. Well done to keep it for a moment, but that's where Dover ends any fun there for Richmond.
And good composure from the Hounds to build it out of some pressure, and now Zemansky switched it over to Luban on the left side.
David Bulow of Richmond getting assistance from Michael Callahan and Sasha Goris, two recent former players themselves. Young coaching staff for the kickers. Troyer wanted to step forward, it looked like, but instead thought better of it. And now Shinosky going deep here. Gentile. He ran into what appeared to be Luban over there on the far wing, and I think a good no call from Charles Murphy as Gentile instigated. the contact. And now Francois running right at Shinosky, and this time Shinosky gets the better of him.
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised there. Not a very good touch from him. He's been so good at just making that fake move and touching it to the right and then getting a shot off. And there's been some real strong shots.
I think that time Shinosky said, if I see a separation, I'm going for it rather than backing off, because if I concede too much ground to this guy, it's going to be trouble. But you're right. I think as we see a
Lind sending one,
clearing one. You're right, Paul. I thought Francois could have done a little bit better with that.
Yeah, because he had a lot more. I think sometimes he's got to calm down too, Gino. We've seen that every time he seems to get it. He knows that he can go by people, but he's got to pick his times and his choices a little bit better. And I think Bob Lilly was talking about him doing that because he's only 24 years old, but he's got a lot of potential. And he can just realize there that nothing's on. Just come back with it again and restart. He can still go past people.
Select is the official soccer ball of the USL as Richmond tries to work that Select ball up the touchline. For the latest Select products and special offers, visit selectsportamerica.com and get free shipping on orders over $50.
There we go.
Getting a boot in the way was Dover, and the Riverhounds have it again. Francois juggling at the center circle. Dabo joins the party. Mohamed Dabo from Senegal to the Frenchman Vunky Azil.
I thought Troyer got it from behind, but they let that go, and Richmond comes out with the ball.
Referee was just standing 5 yards away, too.
Couldn't have had a better look, could have Murphy. In that spot, Williams, ill-advised through ball. Pratzner with the easy takeaway. And Thomas Vunky is on the rare spot of leading the attack here for the Riverhounds. Brett gave it to him. Oh, my. Spangenberg almost put it right into Vunky Azil's wheelhouse, but just missed. And now Williams turns and falls. He was a little out of control, but Vunky Azil helped him down.
Yeah, I think Vunky Azil had his hands around his waist, and you know he might have been going down anyway, but with Vunky Azil's hands there, that created the foul.
Right, and in that spot of the field, you're not going to get much benefit of the doubt because that would have been an instant chance for Pittsburgh had it been allowed to stand. Second look, and there is the
grabbed him
the dance move from Vunky Azil, a little forceful. So the Riverhounds have conceded double-digit fouls in 3 straight games. They're well on their way here. That wasn't the case earlier in the season. Getting a little more aggressive in the second half, perhaps. At least it's showing itself in that stat. Williams, who's had the ball quite a bit at his foot.
A good play from Zemansky to win that one.
Good.
Azil to Brett.
Nico, Brett's up ahead. Can he get past Williams? He can't. It's the last line of defense, outside of Spangenberg, of course.
That was a good... Nico came back from an offside position, and that's what kind of messed it up. It wasn't the quality kind of ball.
Timing wasn't quite there,
Yeah, it was a shame, really, because if it had just kept on side there for a little bit, I think it still would have caught that ball and done something with it.
I mentioned at the top, these are 2 of the original teams in USL. Richmond Kickers have been around since 1993, tied with Charleston Battery as the longest-running pro soccer franchise in America. 40th matchup all time. Charleston has the lead, 20 wins, 9 losses, 10 ties in favor of, or pardon me, Richmond, I should say, in favor of the Kickers. Oh, missed pass there, but it comes right through. A fine mix-up, as it turns out, for the Hounds. Back post ball from Dover, spun in, but headed clear by Shinosky.
Yeah, Shinosky did well to get back. Just maybe a little bit more height and distance on that. And he would have found, I think, Nico.
Yeah, he was standing all on his own there, Gino, waiting for it. And he looked out there.
Fredo Wusu Sechere draws the call. It's the start of a long stretch of home matches for the Riverhounds, so the points are there on the table for them. They're in a good spot now, up 1-0, getting late stages second half, or first half. Goal kick. Now, pardon me, it's a corner kick for Richmond. I saw...
Yeah, and conversely,
Frankie shielding over there.
For the Kickers, I mean, they've been in a really difficult stretch of games. I mean, I think this is, what, their 4th one in about 12 days. Saturday, Wednesday, and then come back again Saturday, so they've like 5 in about 15 days. And so and some of them on the road, man, it gets difficult and the legs get a little bit heavy.
Yearwood, another corner. Lind can't grab it. Look out, here's Gentile firing, and it's blocked. Blocked high by Brett, I believe. The striker getting back.
Yeah, terrific save, terrific delivery, and
I don't know about
I think it was Yearwood. Yeah, I thought Danny Lind was a little bit crowded, and he ended up boxing down. He couldn't really get through. He needs to come up through that ball because he has to clear it. He didn't have a clear path to the ball.
We've seen him
Long
get scored
throw.
on last week from North Carolina from him palming the ball out to somebody who volleyed it right back in the net. Sorry about
Frankie
that,
to Brett, no problem. Frankie's making a run. Here is
great
Frankie
decision.
getting it now. Noah Frankie to the 6. He got Spangenberg out of the goal, but he couldn't make the play through cleanly. That was actually Luban on the initial touch, then to Brett, then Frankie.
Yeah, Luban was really streaking. They didn't give it to him, but then I thought a good decision because he ran in an offside position and gave it to Frankie on the right flank.
There was nobody really at the top of the D or the penalty area coming in for that pass, though, was there? We didn't see a replay of it, but
I didn't see anyone open, at least to the naked eye.
No choices, you know.
Zemansky's going to handle this corner. By my count, the 8th of the half for the Riverhounds. Zemansky lets this one drift. Roberts was there, but not a lot on that header. As he was fading away from it. Luban's going to let it bounce out to the river side of the field. Rough throw. That's off of Francois, and it's given over to Richmond anyway.
Dangerous kick, I think.
I think so, right. Infraction called by Charles Murphy. Riverhounds are in 4th place. 1 win away from 3rd, though. And here's a takeaway, and the Riverhounds have Dover sending it through. Coming up at the half on ESPN Plus, we have highlights of the match, stats, and then the best of the USL from week 20. We'll take a look at those power rankings, too. The Hounds were atop that list 2 weeks ago. They dropped down a little bit. Maybe a missed kick slightly from Raul Gonzalez, but his keeper Spangenberg will be on the end of it. So that's all coming up at the half, like we said, and look at some news and notes from the USL, too. I'm Matt Geica with Paul Child and Gene Klein alongside from Highmark Stadium in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Riverhounds trying to defend the home surface. They're 5-2-3 here. USL action. Just conceded 2 goals on the year right here at home. And now Richmond in the final 5 minutes of the first half. This play slows down a bit, but Gonzalez coughed it up to Dabo. Vankiazil has some space. And a bouncing ball was intercepted by Bolduc. Francois was there on that left wing, but Vankiazil unable to get it through to him.
Yeah, Vankiazil's really
he's frustrated.
high. Yeah, he's getting frustrated, but he's pushing really high, you know, and getting into the attack, almost like playing a number 10, which really is not his normal role.
Zemansky just got a yellow
card, right? That's his 4th foul, at least, the Riverhounds captain tonight.
Well, we saw Murphy, the center official, have a verbal discussion with Ben, you know, a few minutes ago, and so with another foul, he's going to give him a card.
One of those that if he hadn't already committed a few that were on the borderline, may be let go, but not in that case. As he ran right through Sechere. Near the midfield stripe, 43rd minute now. Riverhounds up a goal. As the final minutes of this opening half bleed out.
I don't think there's going to be much stoppage time, if a minute maybe, if there's even that, because there's nothing really halted play or been wasting time.
No injuries, just the goal that stopped play, really. Richmond maybe battling some tired legs, too. Gene, you mentioned the busy schedule. They scheduled a friendly against RCD Español of La Liga last week and got a big crowd at City Stadium, 8,000 plus. But who knows what kind of effect that has on their stamina right now.
And then a couple days later, I think we had to go to Charleston and got spanked 3-0, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, you know, in the USL, you love to play those friendlies. It's terrific for for their club, for the fans. It draws tremendous attention to them. And Paul, as a player, you know, they get up for that. I mean, they want to go do those things, but as we see Nico offside there, I mean, they want to certainly test themselves against, Espanol, one of the top teams in the league. So,
yeah.
But it does have to take its toll.
Definitely, but like you say, I think that's always important, you know, and they usually expend a lot more energy in those games because they want to try and prove themselves as being, you know, top players too, and show themselves.
The Hounds haven't had one of those since they welcomed Wigan Athletic, I believe, 4 years ago. Might have been 2014 or 2013, perhaps.
It was the year after Wigan lost in the FA Cup final and got relegated.
They were getting relegated and got to the final, didn't they? That's what it was.
They did, and their reward was to come to Highmark Stadium and play the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. But yeah, that was a fun night. That was a fun night with, and so I'm sure it was a great event in Richmond. But it's been a difficult road for the Kickers.
And it's the busiest schedule ever in USL with 34 matches. So, yeah, it's all things you have to balance if you're running a franchise. 1 minute of stoppage time coming up. Gentile is going to cross it. And Dover, the only man there at the edge of the 6 to keep it away from Shriver.
Dover did the right thing there, Trino. I think he's, you know, because we've seen where it's been late in the games and we've kind of had a lax in the last couple of games, and teams have scored on us. So
and you tell players all the time, look, if you're unsure, we'll concede a corner rather than giving up a goal. You know. But Shriver was open. If that delivery has a little bit more quality and goes over Dover, Shriver was in a good position.
Yearwood once again gets duty, and Roberts right in the way of it. Hugh Roberts rising high for Pittsburgh. Probably just a few seconds left, maybe a half minute if Richmond's fortunate to generate one more look.
I don't too much of a rush to take it.
Here comes the throw.
Long one.
Yeah, Gonzalez is going to put everything he has into this near the 6, but Dover had no trouble. And now Frankie helps out, gets over the top of Troyer.
Yeah, did well there.
Braden Troyer.
And that's full
gets
time.
the final touch. That'll do it for the opening half from Highmark Stadium. Nico Brett's goal in the 5th minute. The only one on the board. The Hounds have played plenty of scoreless first halves here at home, so that's a nice change up for them. They don't have to chase the game or really do much of anything in the second half, but they're going to want to build off of what they've done here in the first. There you see Nico's 9th of the season. And, well, gentlemen, like we saw 2 weeks ago here, the Riverhounds looking like the better team here on home turf.
Yeah, I thought the Riverhounds started very, very well. First 15, 20 minutes, and I really thought they were going to get more than one, Paul. I don't know if they took their foot off the gas a little bit the last 15 or 20, or Richmond sort of got back into the flow.
No, I think they did let them back into it a little bit more, Gino. But because I think I said to you, I'd like to see the percentage of possession, and with 25 minutes gone, and then once I said that, 2 minutes later.
Switch back the other
started coming on, you know, so.
Well, we'll take a look at those stats and see what they are, at least after 45, in addition to the highlights and, like I said, USL news and notes. Back in just a moment on ESPN Plus. You've watched 45 minutes of USL soccer, and your score, Pittsburgh 1, Richmond 0.
A lot of clients ask us what makes us different. The first thing that comes to mind for me is Joyce's signature collection. We truly are jewelers. We're passionate about jewelry. We understand the process of making jewelry and what it takes to make the highest quality product at the best value. We travel the world to bring back and create the most unique diamond jewelry collection that you will find anywhere. If you've never shopped Joyce's, I personally invite you to visit our store. I know you're gonna love it.
At Joyce's Jewelry.
I just want to make sure that I just do everything I can to just protect him and love him and just, you know, just be the best mom I can be.
Yeah. And with your first, you want to know the doctor because you want to be comfortable with them.
Yeah. I don't want to feel like I'm at a baby factory.
Be like this.
The region's fastest growing labor and delivery program is at Allegheny Health Network.
Don't miss out on any of the action from the Pittsburgh Riverhounds this summer. It's First Responder Night on Saturday, August 18th, when the Hounds face off against the Charlotte Independents for a 7 p.m. match. All active and retired first responders will receive a free ticket, plus a special discount offer to all family and friends. Then on Wednesday, August 22nd, the Tampa Bay Rowdies come to town for a special Wednesday showdown at 7 p.m. Gates open at 5:30 p.m. Purchase your tickets at riverhounds.com.
Park stuck the landing.
Through the years, you've done right by investing in your home. And now, you can use that equity to borrow money for the things you need. With a low 1.99% APR and no fees, you can apply for a home equity loan online and use the money to upgrade to that minivan, make home improvements, or finance college. At Clearview, we can help you find ways to use the equity in your home for more important things. Let us help. Visit us online for more information. Clearview Federal Credit Union, the next generation of personal banking.
The Riverhounds taking care of business through one half of play on this Wednesday night in Pittsburgh. Turning out to be a lovely evening. The clouds are parting. It's been a humid day, but it looks like we're going to get through with empty skies. And for the Riverhounds, everything so far, so good. I'm Matt Geica with Gene Klein and Paul Child here from Highmark Stadium on the banks of the Monongahela River. Let's take a look at some news and notes from around the USL. This week, in fact, was the occasion of the owners' meetings in USL, looking into the future, some vital discussions there, in addition to the MLS owners' meetings, too. Big news out west. St. Louis FC scored twice in the final 20 minutes. That broke the longest unbeaten streak in USL. That was held by Reno. So St. Louis comes back on the road to take care of that. 16 games, though. Reno had not lost since the middle of April. And Atula Guerra, he delivered the heartbreak here at Highmark 2 weeks ago for Charleston Battery. He keeps the Battery going. Now Charleston at second place in the Eastern Conference. They've won 4 in a row and in pretty good shape here as we are well into the second half now of the USL season. Let's look on to what we have coming up on television across the ESPN family of networks for the United Soccer League. On ESPN News, 1 week from tonight, Tampa Bay and Charleston. So the Battery will test their mettle down there at Al Lang Stadium. That's at 7:30 start time. 8:30 Eastern time on ESPN 3. A week after that, St. Louis and Sacramento Republic. Republic always one of the stronger clubs in attendance. St. Louis has been promising in its short time in USL. And then later in the month, Phoenix Rising and Rio Grande Valley taking on San Antonio on consecutive weeks. Those are also on ESPN 3, which you could find on ESPN Plus as well. Everything on the ESPN family of networks pretty much you can locate on demand on ESPN Plus. Well, here we are, as I mentioned, with the Riverhounds starting a stretch of games at home, 4 out of 5 and 7 out of 10. Like I said, so far so good. We'll talk about what we've seen so far on the other side of this break.
What a goal! Sandoval with an incredible bicycle! How did that go in?
Nice through ball for Williams, he scores!
Takes it to the byline, squares it across, they score!
Dennis still on the move, showing great strength. Dennis lets it fly! Sensational from Aaron Dennis, he equalizes in the 72nd minute.
Chang inside to Sebastian Velasquez, shot and a goal! Sebastian Velasquez!
What did I tell you? That's the Monarchs game.
Cuts back to his left foot, he's gonna chip the keeper! Oh, an early goal! Sensational from Anthony Burke-Gilroy! Sounders on top in the 2nd minute.
Here, Rasmussen strikes on goal, and it's in the back of the net! Rasmussen has put OKC in front, 1-0.
Here's Stroud in the 18, takes a shot and buries it far post at the start.
Point blank save!
Bonomo the touch, Fleming's the shot.
Quick run up, straight into Ferrigno.
A shot, and what a save. Malcolm. Ball ricochets out in front, and a save by Cardoni.
Coffin leaves a shot. Serta knocks it down.
Long strike and a spectacular save by Restrepo.
Knocked away by Marcinkowski.
Through. Could this be a chance for Fernando? Up by Kuzminski, again blocked by Kuzminski.
This will come to Dillon. Nice save again by McIntosh.
More pressure. Right side. Shot taken. Mizell denies again.
Taylor with an effort. A good save.
As Rasmussen will strike from a long way out, forcing a brilliant save.
Here's a shot, and what a save there from Tambakis.
Left-footed ball from Vukovic, curling there, header, and a save.
Bird into space. Save.
Isaac Diaz, the shot, and the goal.
Into the 18. Oh, my.
One-time rip and a goal.
Here, Brody's inside the 18. Brody with a shot and a goal.
That was the best of the USL from Week 20. I am Matt Geica coming to you from high above the pitch at Highmark Stadium. Pittsburgh 1, Richmond 0 after 45 minutes. Let's look at who's going up and down the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference as well. We'll get to that. But most pertinent to these two teams, there you see Pittsburgh still, despite losing 2 in a row, with a record of 5-2-1 in its past 8. There you see FC Cincinnati, though. That's the story right now. FC Cincy about ready to jump on to MLS next year. They added a couple of players this past week, but they don't need much help, it doesn't appear, at this moment. They haven't lost in 10, and in fact, the two hottest teams in the East are also the two teams at the top of the Eastern Conference right now, 1-2, Cincy and Charleston. Don't sleep on Ottawa, though, or Louisville, which is hanging around. On the other hand, you have Charlotte and Atlanta dropping out of the playoff zone. Charlotte was in just a moment ago, it seems, but the Independents dropping as we head from July into August. Let's take a gander at the power rankings here in the USL. I mentioned the Riverhounds were number 1 on these, subjective of course, but you can vote on them on USLsoccer.com. There you see the Hounds in the 7th spot. FC Cincy number 1, Charleston number 2, hard to argue with that. Real Monarchs have been right there astride the Western Conference seemingly all season long, so they're in 3rd. And Louisville City, I think some people looking back to last year and seeing the championship season and seeing them hanging around, and much like the Hounds, they have 2 games in hand as of right now on the rest of the Eastern Conference field. So yeah, once again, you can go to USLsoccer.com and vote on those power rankings each and every week. Back here in Pittsburgh, like we said, we have a tight one here so far, even though the Hounds have had the better of the chances. We'll talk about that in a moment on ESPN+.
Ow.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay.
That one a little bit.
A little bit right here?
Yeah, right there.
Well, it looks like we can treat this in just a cast. So is this your first time getting a cast?
Yes.
Does it feel nice?
Yeah, it feels nice.
Call 412 Doctors for a same-day appointment at Allegheny Health Network.
The Riverhounds Technical Training Academy is back this winter at the AHN Sports Complex at Cool Springs. The 15-session program runs from December to March and is loaded with skills development taught by professional players from around the world. Registration opens in August. Sessions begin December 1st. Find out more by emailing wintertraining@riverhounds.com or by calling 412-325-7238.
All right, that's enough, you two. Don't paint your brother. No, you can't eat the clay. What can I say? Moms just know. I'm Christine Sorensen, and as a mom, I know parents know a lot. But for the few things we don't know, there's Kidsburg, your go-to resource for all the great things in our area for kids and families. Everything from kid-friendly events, creative learning, and help for parents. It's every Wednesday on KDKA TV, emailed to your inbox and online at kidsburg.org.
Don't miss out on any of the action from the Pittsburgh Riverhounds this summer. It's First Responder Night on Saturday, August 18th, when the Hounds face off against the Charlotte Independents for a 7 p.m. match. All active and retired first responders will receive a free ticket, plus a special discount offer to all family and friends. Then on Wednesday, August 22nd, the Tampa Bay Rowdies come to town for a special Wednesday showdown at 7 p.m. Gates open at 5:30 p.m. Purchase your tickets at riverhounds.com.
Park stuck the landing.
For the second time this year, Nico Brett has a goal against the Richmond Kickers. This time it's at home. Last time it was down in the capital of Virginia. Riverhounds doing what they should be doing, it appears, through 45 minutes. We'll look back at the opening half. Again, this is Matt Geico, Paul Child, and Gene Klein rejoin here as we reminisce about what we've seen so far. And very early on, a bouncing ball vexing the Kickers. Bankiazil to Dabo, and then some mayhem right in front of the Richmond goal. Shinosky couldn't control this. As Brett lets it go, and perfect shot too. Let's not forget that. He made no mistake with that one.
You know, and they were saying it was in an offside position. The question was, you know, was the ball played by Shinosky and it was just deflected by him? So it's.
I think also too, Gino. I think Williams kind of was in line with Nico Brett. You couldn't see him. He was this side, but I was looking at the white, you know, the other lines on the field, and they looked like they were both standing on that line at the same time.
We saw here's a
Frankie and Dover teaming up a couple of times. You just saw.
Right. We saw a couple of early balls that were boxed out by Spangenberg, and so the Riverhounds have had some chances, and that was early on, as we had said that they did really, really well. Here's one by Frankie that just goes wide of the post.
Yeah, he just came
tremendous chance there.
A little bit caught it on the inside of his boot, and not as clean as he would like, and just pulled it a little bit to the left. But they had their share of chances, didn't they? And we thought for sure they were going to get a second one early on.
Francois hasn't got into his stride quite yet, you know, as well. And that was
There's
Nico
Brett, yeah.
But,
the left side has been open too. Like you guys were talking about earlier, the flanks have been productive spots for the Hounds to attack. And here's Richmond pushing back.
And Richmond, that was one Gentile would have went back again, because that was a great serve by Yearwood, and Gentile has to put that down.
Yeah,
you know, we see Danny Lind encouraging his defenders to make sure they don't lose their mark.
And off a third corner, Lind unable to control, and again Gentile with a look, but Brett doubled down and got there to get in front.
Yeah, Danny Lind has to clear that one. I mean, you can't play that one down for somebody to get a rebound.
That will cost you.
So a surprising number for me as I look at the stat sheet, possession 60-40 in favor of Richmond. I didn't, that's one of those where you can't eyeball it, apparently. And I suppose the Kickers got some touches in their own end to build that up in the second part of that first half. But the shots and the shots on target look about right in terms of flow of play.
Yeah, that's right about the percentage too. I think we see them playing the ball a lot, but they're playing it back in their own 35.
They're playing in their back half, and the Riverhounds are going to allow them to play it out there. It's how much possession have they had in the attack half, where the Riverhound possession has been way more significant there.
Yeah.
That's where you have to break it down further. And you know what? If you're into breaking it down further, there is all kind of information at uslsoccer.com, including live stuff, heat maps, where all the touches are. That can tell you more than mere numbers can. The Kickers are back on the field, coached by first-year man David Bullough, taking over for Lee Cowlishaw last month. Well, actually 2 months ago now, technically, as we talked about. And Bob Lilly, well, his Riverhounds have lost 2 in a row for the first time under his control, but they appear to be in a good spot here through 45. Maybe they let a little off the accelerator late in that first half, but there you see Dan Lind. He's not conceded one yet. For the first time this year, he conceded 3 in consecutive games cumulatively, so that had to have been a shock to the system for a guy who has, what, 9 clean sheets on the year? Yeah, already one shy of a single-season record in Riverhounds history.
As we see David Bullough come and talk, providing some final instructions to his players. And credit to Richmond Kickers. Guys, I think they did get back into it a little bit in the last half of the last 20 minutes for sure. They were a little bit shaken up by that early goal, a little bit rattled. Riverhounds had some opportunities maybe to pounce on a second goal. They did not, so Richmond's back into this game, and it will make for an interesting second half.
Yeah, it's sometimes it's not good to score so early in the game as well. I mean, we've seen that so often where we score very early on and kind of like ease off, and I think they were really trying very hard to get that second one, Gino, and just couldn't capitalize on anything.
Yeah, well, I want to see also what, if any, tactical adjustments both teams are going to make as we Matt, as you had mentioned, the Riverhounds are finding a lot of success on the left flank with Francois. They pulled him really almost as a left winger and allowed him to run at Chinosky on the right side. They also had LeBon pushing forward from that left flank. So we'll see if Francois appears to be coming out here on the left, and we'll see exactly how they line up and where they push. Vankiazil was really pushing forward underneath Nico Brett, and Frankie was doing some pretty good business on the right flank. So for Richmond, it was mostly trying to find Shriver in the pockets between the midfield forward lines, the back lines, and have him distribute and also hit some free kicks.
I already saw the Nico Brett highlight on Twitter on the USL's official account. Always good to check in with that on busy nights or relatively quiet nights like this one. Just one other match this evening. Later, Swope Park Rangers is at LA Galaxy 2. Los Dos hosting that one. But it's twitter.com/USL is where you can find all of that. And, well, Richmond is guilty of an infraction here as Fred Owusu-Sechere went over the top of the Riverhounds' Andrew Lubon right in front of us.
I think the Hounds have really got to come out here, guys, and set the tone right from the beginning here and start putting pressure on Richmond again. And I think they could capitalize on another goal, but they can't be easing off at all because Richmond's desperate and they want to come back and get back in this game.
It was just the 4th foul of the match called against Richmond. Pittsburgh has 14 called against it.
Yeah, and you wonder if Fred was trying to bait Szymanski into another one because he had been sitting on a yellow card. So and right away, Szymanski was looking towards the officials saying, hey, wait a minute. You know, I had nothing to do with that one.
A special hello to those watching down in Richmond on WTVR, the CBS affiliate, the Red Army of the Kickers, longtime supporters group. I'm sure several are tuned in at the moment, and we hope you're locked in on all the action here. I know your team's down, but, well, 45 minutes to go, anything can happen here. Still, as of yet, just the 1-goal margin. As here goes Chinosky again, right back to dump it in on his keeper, Spangenberg. Trevor Spangenberg distributes to the far wing. And the Kickers have something here. Sechere goes tumbling. Not going to win that call. It's a throw-in for the Riverhounds.
Yeah, he's been
falling a lot.
He's been tumbling a lot, yeah.
Fred Owusu-Sechere, former Virginia Commonwealth star, 4th year in Richmond, 32 years old, from Ghana. A familiar name in this league at this point. Brett tried the forceful back heel, but couldn't shove it through Chinosky, and so it's a turnover. Hlavati tried to body his way through Pratzner. Still free at the top of the Hounds box before Roberts takes care of it.
Yeah, Roberts was just getting it out of there, out of danger right away. He had a little bit more time. He could have probably got it to a Hound player, but thought, whack it out if you're in doubt.
No, I like that. Very catchy slogan for a defender in trouble.
When in doubt,
whack it out.
Frankie right through, beautiful ball to Brett. Oh my, it's offside. I thought he had a second. He thought he did too.
Boy, I did too.
I'd love to get a second look at that one.
Yeah, I don't know about.
Frankie's ball was tremendous, and now Hlavati is sent.
The yellow card's coming out.
Rolling out of bounds. Almost has to on the violence of that foul.
Yeah. A little bit late on
Lubon.
I did get the ball first before he clipped the player, but obviously referee didn't like it.
Reckless challenge in the 49th minute has the Riverhounds looking at 2 cards in this one. Nico Brett that close to a second, and Bob Lilly having a discussion with Charles Murphy. And I think Paul Bob is arguing what you were arguing, that the ball was touched first.
Yeah.
And that's true, but there was also quite a bit of body coming quickly after it from Lubon.
And that,
Riverhounds turn up the counter.
If you're taking the body, it's still a foul.
Mm-hmm. That's a misconception that if you get the ball first, it's not a foul. Not the case, in fact. Francois tries to collect his misfire cross. Riverhounds have a throw, and Lubon holds it overhead.
You saw right there, and really, again, as we said towards the end of the first half, I mean, right there, Richmond was back in a lot better shape, and their lines were much more compact and much more connected than we saw in the first 20, 25 minutes of that first half.
Lubon square here.
Oh, nice touch.
Lovely chip from Frankie, but Szymanski couldn't pull it with him. I thought Frankie had weighted it perfectly, but it didn't behave for Ben Szymanski. And this just barely out into touch.
Hands throwing again.
They continue to keep the pressure on. And we'll have a glance at that offside call against Brett. When it appeared, he made it 2-0.
Yeah, here it is.
Frankie breaking through.
Oh, man.
It's tight.
Offside or onside there.
It is very tight.
They were both on the edge of the penalty area.
Yeah,
and
both of their torsos were leaning back toward the goal, so maybe a makeup call. Who knows? Francois, what a move to get in! Oh, Spangenberg got his hand on it. Corner kick, Pittsburgh.
Francois has that terrific little burst, doesn't he? I mean,
he did really well down in this corner just to keep the ball and get it past the player, the defender, and he just has that, like you say, June.
Defenders continue to underestimate him, I think, or they overcommit, as Slavati did there. He got turned around, and you don't want to be looking at number 7 because you're not going to catch it from behind, most likely.
Tough for a defender, too, to decide, do I go in or...
Driven corner, Roberts up. Pardon me, Paul, as now Francois has control.
Is he going to blow by me, or should I, you know...
A flick, and there's Francois again. Carbon copy. No, he'll cross this time. Back post. That was Pratzner. Now lining one up, deflected ball. That was Frankie pushing it through. And Spangenberg had to follow the deflection.
Getting back to the defenders, I mean, that's what you expect, you know. Defenders kind of like, if you're getting burnt all the time, then they start... If they've either got to make their mind up and come in and challenge you, or they know they're going to get burnt again. So it's a 6 of one and half a dozen of the other.
And we saw in the first half, and they were really backing off Francois.
Here's a shot.
He buys himself some room, and that one's well over the crossbar.
I mean, because they had Bodek on him there, and Szymanski's dropping almost to the 6.
Yeah.
You know, so there's that space, and even if he beats Bodek there, he still has some space to hit the shot. So right there, you can see him there, Bodek on, and look where Szymanski is, maybe about the 8-yard line. But it was like...
Francois had 6 assists with the Rochester Rhinos last year, but looking more like a finisher this season. Now with the 4 goals to go with the 1 helper. Dabo chipping.
Oh, better ball.
And it's offside. Flag up from assistant referee Vovrizniak on the river side of the field. Francois created 4 chances at North Carolina last week to lead the Hounds. And like I said, 2 goals in his last 4 matches and threatening consistently here. Gentile, a missed pass, miscommunication in fact, with Shriver there. Right at the top of that Richmond formation. The 4-4-1-1 rolled out by David Bulow. Kicker's coach. Francois sauntering towards us. Lays it back, Lubon. And Vankiazil. And the Hounds want to build up here. Francois tried to chip to himself. It didn't work out. Szymanski did well to tap that away from Sechere. It was right in front of Sechere's chest.
Linesman called
and
that one.
Did they call a foul there against Szymanski? I thought it was close to a dangerous play, and it turns out it will be called. Both these teams will be back at it on Saturday as we get a glance at a replay. Richmond hosts Bethlehem Steel, and Pittsburgh welcomes Toronto FC2 for the 2nd time this season.
Great steal.
Frankie ripped it away. Frankie's going to get it back, and he's offside. Again, the Riverhounds vexed by the flag on the far wing.
Mikel Williams was so slow with the ball at various times in this game, and so casual. And they picked his pocket again, but Frankie ran into an offside position.
That did look like he was a yard, maybe half a step offside.
Just a little overzealous.
Right
and
there.
You almost have to keep running in that spot in order to stay ahead and make the play happen, but of course then you're already caught. you double back, the pass doesn't connect. If you do keep running, I guess you hope they missed the call maybe, but the timing just a little off there. There you see the advertising boards on the far side lighting up. It's dusk in Pittsburgh. We had some beautiful shots looking back toward the Fort Pitt Bridge 2 weeks ago.
Down here.
Shanoski, he has Francois right there in his kitchen, but he got rid of it. The Hounds putting the high press on. They want that second goal badly. They've almost had it twice. Funky Azil ran past Neil Hlavati.
And this is more where the Riverhounds were the first 20, 25 minutes of the first half, where they're pressing up high.
Yep.
They're letting them have that first pass, and then they're trying to close it down really hard, and they're forcing some turnovers and forcing Richmond to struggle a little bit with the ball.
Yeah.
And the kickers were very generous with it in the first half. Gentile, we won't be able to get there. No way, as Lind gobbles it. Dan Lind, former Pitt Panther. From the Rochester area, first year as a Hound. He hasn't been tested a lot this season. Maybe a little bit more the last 2 matches, though, especially at North Carolina.
Yep.
The Riverhounds conceded quite a bit by way of chances down there. Very uncharacteristic on this season of defensive success. They've still just given up 10 goals in 19 matches coming in. Now 19 and a half. Frankie slides through. And will that be allowed to stand? It will. And in fact, it's off of a kicker last. So Noah Frankie gets rewarded for the hustle.
Yeah, he did well there. He really made some ground and got to that.
The throw to Brett misses there with Dover. And the Hounds have to run back to defend. Stay up to date with all the best from social media around the USL by watching Off the Post with Kelsey Steele every Friday evening on the USL social media channels. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Find the USL there. Williams.
Again.
We've seen this over and over again, but Brett overran it that time.
Oh, and then he gave a very difficult pass there to Troyer, I think. That
Troyer did well to get rid of
that
it.
away, yeah. The Hounds, too, just a little subtle adjustment. The first half we saw Funky Azil is really the one as we see Gonzalez.
Oh, a chance for Gonzalez, and he wanted to cross it. I thought he was going to shoot.
Yeah. I think he was trying.
Maybe he just misfired.
Yeah. Dover was in a great spot there to clear that away.
That's the first chance Richmond's really clear chance that they've had.
They really have.
At least from open play.
But I was about to say the one, Funky Azil sitting a little bit deeper where he was pushing up high under Nico Brett, and now we're seeing Ben Zemansky, as you see right now, pushing up a little bit high, and underneath him gets a little bit heavy. Tuss not happy with that one, and loses that there because they're we want the Riverhounds want Francois out wide left as he has been the entire game, and they're pushing, and Dabo and Funky Azil and Ben Zemansky are that triangle in the middle.
Good to see Ben Zemansky back out there and healthy. This ball gets through, and Richmond looking frisky. Sechere, fine cutback, has some space, and
there's a foul. They're calling foul on.
They're calling a foul here, and a card is coming out,
and it's going to be on.
It's
Pratzner.
Todd Pratzner of the Hounds is guilty, and it's just outside the penalty area. I thought for a moment it might be a penalty kick.
Yeah, now it's a dangerous spot for Shriver.
Yeah, this is his range for sure.
Right, this is range. We saw in the highlights at the beginning before the match. He buried one a couple games ago, so this is a dangerous spot for the Riverhounds, and a terrific spot for the Richmond Kickers to get back in and level the game.
Prassner just ran right through Shriver. Not sure if he even saw him, but in that spot of the field, that's going to draw the attention of the referee, and Charles Murphy makes the call. The third card against the Riverhounds tonight.
Yeah, that's
Prassner gets one. It is. I believe that's, if it's not a first, it's a second occasion this season. Like I said, they've been one of the more disciplined teams in the league until very recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you look at the disciplinary review that the league sends out every week, the Hounds have not been in there.
No.
I mean, it's
Richmond, a very clean team, too. And, well, they've held up their end of the bargain at least. 4 men standing over the ball for Richmond. Who takes it? Gentile takes a step. It'll be Shriver, and into the wall it goes. He tries the rebound, and his volley is blocked as well. The Hounds survive it. That was a hazardous chance. Yeah. And Gentile gets into a shoving match over there with Noah Frankie. And Charles Murphy has to run over to try to break it up. Where did that come from? Maybe a scuffle in the box after that chance was blocked initially.
Well, you see from there, Frankie was running to the ball, and Gentile pulled his shirt first, and he got away from him, and then he went after him again. Yeah. So
I wonder if that frustration has been boiling, or they've come together previously. And will there be further discipline? That's what we'll find out from Charles Murphy. And he wants to bring some players in. Well, Gonzalez ran right by, and then Frankie's ready to throw it in, and Gentile wants to prevent it.
Yeah, I don't know what Gentile's doing with Frankie.
No.
Frankie's laying on the ground. He's the one that got fouled.
Well, some controversy on Faith and Family Night, interestingly enough.
Well, let's have faith that the referee can sort this out.
I like that. Thanks to the sponsors Cornerstone TV and K-Love. First of 2 matches this week at home. We'd love to see you out here at Highmark Stadium in the flesh. Saturday, Toronto FC2 comes in. The bottom team in the Eastern Conference table.
Finally broke into the win column.
They did. They defeated Nashville 2-0. Nashville is starting to fall down the standings after a strong start. Look at this counter for the Riverhounds. Very promising. Zemansky.
Yeah,
Brett, did he tee it up? And he will, but too sharp of an
that.
angle. By the time he did gather himself, I think you're right. It was just not enough of an opportunity there.
I think the ball was bouncing just perfect for a volley. Volley, and he
I didn't think. I think it was more on his left foot, and he didn't want to touch it there. You know,
it might be.
So Brett not lacking for chances tonight. He's back on the score sheet for the first time since mid-June. There's fine work from Hugh Roberts, and a trip from behind, and that's a brutal foul from Bolduc.
Yeah.
Easy card. Easy yellow card. Murphy says calm down.
The prototypical epitome of a professional foul there, right? I mean, he's clear onto the attack, and let's stick a little foot out and get a trip.
It makes you mad, Gino, when they burn by you and you think, oh, I've got to do something here.
Well, you better do something. It wasn't brutal or anything like that, but he was just clearly trying to take him down. As we see this scramble.
Yeah, Labate went down first, but that was clean. And there's Bolduc. Matt Bolduc, 23 years old. Played for Penn FC back when they were Harrisburg City Islanders all of a year ago. This is his 3rd USL season, and he has a yellow card next to his name on the box score. Mohamed Dabo hasn't touched the ball much here in this one, but he did settle it there. Dover, native Canadian, couldn't keep it in play.
Yeah, tough ball that to do anything with.
So we're an hour plus in. No substitutions for either side yet.
I think they're thinking about it right now, and got a couple of guys coming up. Greenspan looks like he may be coming in.
Yeah, just as I say that, he's taking his penny off.
Yeah, it's right around that time between the 67th minute that we're going to see some coaches try to get some fresh legs in the game. And around have some weapons coming off the bench with
Canardo Forbes is getting loose.
Canardo Forbes, Kevin Kerr, and Greenspan.
Roberts could not hook up with Francois on left flank. Funky Azil gets a dreadlock on that one as it was aerial, but now Gentile, look at that volley, but he can't get past the help of Pratzner, Todd Pratzner, joining in, playing central defender once again.
I wonder if Greenspan's going to come in for him because he's got a yellow card. I don't know what he's...
Could be. The Hounds don't want to take any chances. Nursing this 1-0 lead. They've had it since the 5th minute. That's the earliest Hounds goal of the season. Luban gets his foot around it and at least sends it 40 yards up the touchline, but that's where Shinosky gets in front.
Nico, Brett, and France.
Oh, well done with Funky Azil, Zemansky.
They team up to win possession again.
Really,
here comes Richmond, though, and Shriver. Shriver to Gentile at the 18. Back to Shriver. Lays it off, and Yearwood, oh, he missed everything.
Yeah. Boy, I mean, good counter and some good work with Gentile and with Shriver, and then Yearwood just puts that cross way over, and it's not what they need. They had people in the box, and
Hounds
a good serve would have been dangerous.
Hounds a little bit lackadaisical there, though, too, Gino.
They did. No, they did. That's what I'm saying. Yearwood, better delivery.
2 subs coming up for the Riverhounds, who, for the first time they appeared flat-footed there as they possessed the ball. That's a rare sight here tonight. Andrew Lubon's coming out, a native of Erie, gets a hand.
Looks like Von Kiezil's coming to the left back.
And Greenspan is in, so Pratzner stays on the back line, but Joe Greenspan joins his friends. Greenspan's played in 8 matches. The Hounds have 6 clean sheets in those 8. He's been stellar, taking care of the middle of the park. And also, we see Ben Zemansky with a fine hour plus of work, ceding his spot to Canardo Forbes, who puts on the captain's armband.
Yeah, I think it's, you know, Ben's, as we said, coming off some knocks, and you don't want to push it too far, especially when you have a groin injury and things like, you know, that. And if he gets a little bit tired, it can do some other damage. But it's interesting, the tactic that Hounds are employing now with almost looks like 5 in the back, because they have Roberts, they've kept Pratzner in the game, and they've dropped Greenspan in between the 2 center backs, and have dropped Von Kiezil over to the left back with Dover. So you have Forbes and Dabo into the middle.
Francois nearly ripped it away from Shanoski. Connor Shanoski's going to be seeing number 7 in his sleep tonight, I would imagine. Foul against the Hounds. Roberts guilty there.
So Canardo Forbes, Dabo into the middle with Frankie, almost like a 5-4-1, Paul.
Yeah, you know? Really.
Looks like the Hounds are trying to just preserve and go for a 1-0 win.
Yeah,
they've grinded out a few this year. So many have been close, the victories for the Riverhounds. Just a couple by multi-goals. And still time, of course, to get that second at least. Roberts gets rid of it. And Brett's going to be able to get there. No, he won't. I thought for a moment he had a step. He ended up getting cleated by Williams on the follow-through of that clear.
Frankie,
well there. He's been strong. He spills one of the kickers. Play continues on. The ball's in for Francois. He's onside. Bends it back across way too hard, though. Too much on it. Dabo doubling back to win it.
That was a kind of a shot and a cross combination, kind of nowhere.
Another one of the boats on the Monongahela. Gives a salute to the fans here. Von Kiezil's ball not quite going to get through to Francois as Bolduc was on the coverage. And I believe it will be just a deep throw for the Riverhounds. Von Kiezil will take. So that's our first hint that that's true. Thomas Von Kiezil making a play for at least Hounds Rookie of the Year. Coming out of the University of Charleston, West Virginia. Playing in the midfield here today. Lost that handle and ends up having the ball played off his shin for a goal kick.
Well, he's a definite candidate for that award. I think Lig was. I mean, he's been he's done a terrific job in a number of spots. As we say now, you know, Coach Lilly has the utmost confidence to pretty much play him anywhere. Now he's at left back, so it's we've seen him in the holding midfield spot. We've seen an attacking midfield spot. We've seen him both center backs. So they're not afraid to use him in any position on the field.
Real scouting win for the Riverhounds in the offseason.
Kind of a green player that used to was with the Hounds that could play.
Michael Green.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Played in every position.
Oh, great ball.
Forbes has an open man. Jamaican to
Nico.
Jamaican.
Oh,
And Brett
there it
buries it.
Excellent.
Nico Brett, beautiful. Good eyes, sniper. Brett has a brace. And the Riverhounds have a 2-goal lead in the 69th minute at home.
No, that was well taken there. He got some power behind that shot because he couldn't really do anything with it at all.
Yeah, but some really quick play through the midfield. Canardo Forbes, a really quick
pass,
ball, quick pass into and Nico Brett. He took a nice little preparation touch and then hammered it home.
And guess what? Francois did a tightrope act on the touchline right in front of the Hounds bench. You'll see it on the replay most likely, but that led to this chance. And then he fed Forbes. Here's the end of the play. And Brett He feinted toward the middle and then leaned outside and hammered it.
Williams got caught off balance and he went the wrong way, and then he saw that opportunity and took that opposite half a chance and,
I mean,
stuck it away.
Yeah, Richmond was opened up a little bit in the back, and again, Williams, as we saw early in the first half, he struggled with some of those one-on-one situations, and Nico, a little dip at his shoulder, and boom, off. With a
good to see Nico getting back on the board. I think he definitely needed this big time for him.
He had fallen to a tie for 13th in the Golden Boot pursuit. Now he's just 2 behind Guerra for the league lead. So, funny how one game can turn things around. Forbes gets the assist. Cristiano Francois making the counterattack go. Now you see Thomas Vankiazio all the way back.
Yeah, he's wide open. I thought
he's calling for the ball from Dan Lind, who is just holding. 20 minutes to play here in regulation time, and the Riverhounds are up by 2. A real crowd pleaser of a goal. Brilliant strike by Brett. Most of his goals have come a little bit closer than that, but that time he let fly.
And the kickers brought in Neville Kudovis
amid all the celebration
in the midfield for Sakari. So.
So Javier Cordobés, you know his name, 120 appearances for the Charleston Battery over the years. 28-year-old Cuban.
In for number 4, Fred Owusu Sorawe.
So Fred Owusu Sechere out. Javier Cordobés is in for the kickers who need some serious offense now.
Yeah, that makes it really difficult for the kickers. Down 2-0, again, adding to their goal differential, and with 20 minutes to go. I mean, as we said before, the Hounds already tried to lock it down up 1-0, and now they're up 2. They're going to be very difficult to break down.
Well, if it ends like this, Richmond has allowed 2 even on the season per game.
And here he goes again.
Brett wants to make it 3. Can he beat 2 kickers? Not this time. Shinosky and Williams teamed up to block his way. Richmond's actually scored some goals lately. They put a couple on the board even in that friendly against Espanyol of La Liga the other night, but they've been shut out a lot. The problem has been on the defensive side, obviously, when you see 40 goals conceded in 20 games now. And the Hounds have just allowed 10, leading the league in that area, and in clean sheets with 12. Trying to find number 13 here. Cordobés fresh into the game, a couple of step-over moves, flashing some skill, but eventually coughs it up.
2 players closing him down, though. It was difficult to go anywhere with that one.
So the Riverhounds have 2 goals from their big man at the top. Romeo Park's not even dressed tonight, so if it was going to be one of the usual suspects, it was either going to be Brett or Francois, and Brett's cashed in twice. Nearly a sloppy pass there, but the kickers can keep it for just a moment. Great step from Hugh Roberts, and he's hit on the hip, but play continues on.
Yeah, did very well there reading that play and just getting beating the player to it.
And now Bob Lilly has the luxury of maybe holding on to some guys who he didn't want to use tonight and save their legs for Saturday.
That's a good ball.
Lovely one for Frankie, but he couldn't get through the gauntlet. Last minute defending was Shinosky, who sent it up into the air.
Yeah, great little entry pass from Vankiazio into Nico, and then a good run from Frankie coming from the other side.
Feels like Frankie deserves one tonight, does he not?
Really. He's
done a lot of work.
Yeah, he's working really hard and buzzing.
And at least 2 more shots. He had 2 shots in his previous appearance. That's the only time we've seen him in USL competition. He played a couple of matches in US Open Cup at Erie and then here against FC Cincinnati. That's still the only time the Riverhounds have conceded multiple goals at home was against Cincy in US Open Cup play. Brett just misses, reaching out to try to take that through ball from Dover. Brett kept it in. Look at that play. Tireless worker, Nico Brett. If you had to find one characteristic, it would be that stands out. Another substitution on the way for Richmond.
Yeah, Brandon Eaton.
Eaton, second-year pro, just made the 1 appearance last year for Richmond, and he'll take the place of the 31-year-old Hlavati.
Yeah, Neil Avati, veteran player, has put in a good shift for the kickers. Done a lot of work in the midfield.
Yeah, but I'm guessing Richmond, you know, he's got to use his subs. Gino, they've had a lot of games, like you said, in 15 days, so he's got to turn them over as much as he can.
Well, here on the 1st of August, you can vote for the USL's monthly awards. Have your say on USLsoccer.com as we see Eaton check in. Player of the month, goal of the month, save of the month. It's all there on the league's official website. And the Riverhounds are about to begin their 4th consecutive month, it appears, with a victory. Kind of a random fact that really means nothing, but I'd like to bring it up.
Don't bring it up too soon, Matt.
I am not. I'm saying it looks like. I didn't say they had it in the bag yet.
Nothing better than random facts, though, man.
Well, yeah, you got to work them in. When the media relations staff digs them up, I feel like I should make a use of them on the broadcast. So the two Anthonys doing hard work to find the factoids for us. Picardi and Meyer in the Riverhounds front office. Here's Troyer. He's kind of a Swiss Army knife for Richmond. They use him all over the pitch, much like Thomas Vanke Azil. Greenspan, a shifty header, just got a piece of. Another attempted turning of the corner from Francois, but Bolduc got the better of him that time.
And Bolduc's been really trying to take care of Francois most of the second half here, and
he's done a slightly better job than his friends did in the first half, I think.
Definitely.
But even so, Francois has gotten around.
Yeah.
On 2 occasions, at least, he's broken into the penalty area with the ball, full possession. And Murphy says to put the ball into play, Thomas.
Yeah. Well, he wasted more time by coming over and telling him that.
Yeah, paradox. So Brandon Eaton, native of Virginia, sends it wide. These kickers have an affiliate agreement with DC United.
Looks like Ben Fitzpatrick's going to come on.
That'd be his first appearance of the season, if so, for the Riverhounds. It'd be good to see him again.
Oh.
Lower body injury earlier in the season. Francois fouled hard.
Fouled.
That's a yellow card,
Yeah,
surely.
that surely has to be a booking. No.
Could be Troyer.
Oh.
Now seeing the referee Murphy come at him. Well, that might be the last thing that Cristiano Francois does, because apparently, according to the 4th official, Alex Schroeder, Ben Fitzpatrick will check in for Cristiano Francois. What a game for Francois again.
Yeah, the crowd really like it too. I mean, they really appreciate this this guy. He's
how could you not, right? He's so apparent every time the Riverhounds get it going on the attack.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that when he gets the ball, it excites the crowd. It gets everybody into it right away, and it makes them very aware, because you don't know what's going to happen, and that's a nice little ball.
Can it be a third? Dover's in deep. Dover's cross is a good one for Brett, but getting in the way, Shanoski.
Shanoski did well there to get back. Tough when he's backpedaling a little bit and just trying to flick that out of there.
Quick throw in, and they're ready to go again, and looking, really pushing for this another goal here.
They can smell the chance. Noah Frankie, he's had his looks. His back post ball. Oh, the header was on target. Brett thought he had scored.
Yeah.
It was blocked at the last moment. I think Troyer got his body between the ball and the post.
I think sometimes like that, you're waiting too long. You know, it didn't come quick enough, and it's kind of so obvious, and then it just gets there too late. It's a floaty ball.
Still accurate though from Frankie with the left foot. If you had to pick a man of the match, I think, well, obviously Brett's right up there with the 2 goals, but Francois is there. Frankie is in contention for me too. And Fitzpatrick, who has played a wingback role, is now up here, number 44 for the Hounds on your screen.
Good opportunity for Bob to give him a little bit of time. And get a run out there, and at the same time save some legs of some of the other guys, because you know, now he doesn't have to use a Kevin Kerr or a Lee, and can save them up for Saturday against Toronto.
Yeah, because short rest period.
Just a couple of recovery days on the practice field, I'm sure. Cornervase was fouled over there on the far wing by Dover, and that sets up this free kick, and Richmond needs a conversion badly to keep hopes alive of at least pulling a point out of this. Richmond winless in 3. The Hounds have lost 2 in a row, including once here at home 2 weeks ago. Great ball back post, or nearly a great ball. Williams, Troyer right there to try to get on the end of it.
Williams blocked Troyer's header.
Yeah.
That's why you see Shriver there with a smile.
Yeah,
he's thinking, boy, what else do I need to do there to put a ball on the bladder?
Hey, look.
Possibly. Yeah, Troyer was behind. It would have been a really great finish.
But yeah,
they probably had to put it back in front. It was possible.
I think Shriver was looking for somebody to try to get there in the air, and they were just a little bit late arriving.
Frankie, another finely weighted ball. This time it's Dover to Fitzpatrick, and Dover's offside.
Yeah.
So Ben Fitzpatrick, as I mentioned, no action yet in 2018. Sports hernia held him out for the first 6 or 7 weeks. He was on the injury list. Native of Columbus, Ohio, 23 years old. And so that's the last man on the roster to see action this year. We've seen Dennis Chin. We've seen Kay Banjo a couple of times. Now everyone's at least played once here in the opening 20 of a 34-match season.
Fitzpatrick had gone there, and
yeah, he was gone. I mean,
I don't think Dover. What is it?
No, it was Conrado Forbes.
Forbes, yeah. He was on his. He was. And his feet were kind of messed up and couldn't get the pass off quick enough.
Down to the final 10 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The Riverhounds on top 2-0. And here comes Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, Forbes found him this time.
Ben Fitzpatrick into the area to the edge of the 6.
Oh, there it is.
It went in off Brett, or was it Fitzpatrick? I'm not sure.
I think it's Fitzpatrick.
I think it is too. It might have gone off the post. At any rate, that's a good bingo. And Ben Fitzpatrick,
if you're a
couple of minutes and he has a goal.
Nico, if you're a forward, you're going to double make sure. I would.
You're going to poach it, right, typically, but we're being told it was Fitzpatrick getting the last touch before it crossed the goal line.
Well, Fitzpatrick opens his account early in his Riverhound debut here, so
great goal.
Ball. And another assist for Conrado Forbes, who we said couldn't get him the last time. We found him this time as we see him play that perfectly through. And he does a terrific job to find the back post.
Yeah.
Great composure.
If I'm not mistaken, that's Ben Fitzpatrick's first Riverhounds goal. And, well, with Brett right there, it was tough to tell, but it is Fitzpatrick, and really a clinical finish, too, to beat Spangenberg. Dinked it off the woodwork.
No, he had great composure, to be honest with you, for his first game for the Hounds, and, you know, just stretched in there and got his body position perfect, Gino, and just slotted that.
Yeah, and Paul, as you said just a few seconds before that, he was wide open on this left flank again, and the kickers are conceding that space, and he pulled out there really well, and Conrado Forbes delivered a great ball. But man, you got to, you know, he had his head up. You could see he was looking, and he saw that back post and picked it out.
Richmond's back line gets pressed up. They get stretched out. The Hounds have made them pay twice now for that. And Riverhounds are 1 away from their season high in goals. They had 4 against Toronto. Can they get 4 here? Frankie's going to have a look, maybe. Frankie, first time strike, and he bounces it wide of the right post.
Didn't catch that right. Richmond getting another sub in here.
And Bob Lilly giving his charges a round of applause.
Yeah, so Gentili coming off for the Richmond kickers, and Luis Fernando for the kickers on for Gentili.
Fernando, the 21-year-old Brazilian, played as a youth for the famed club Corinthians. 3rd season already with the kickers for the youngster Fernando. So it's a feel-good night for the Riverhounds.
Whoops.
Smoke bombs are going off, and another steal.
Here he goes,
Frankie against Williams, who is fouled hard from behind. I think it was just outside the area, but it's at least going to be a yellow.
And I think he's going to be booked.
Oh.
Williams again out of position. Akel Williams out of position, trying to chase a little bit of a clumsy challenge and takes him down. But if he's going to foul him, he got him at the right spot. But Frankie has been in a few times, been close a few times. Man, if anybody deserves a goal, I think it's him.
He blew by Eaton,
he'll
too,
get
to
the
set
free
that
kick.
up.
Yeah.
Perhaps they will let him take it. I suppose they'll sort it out.
He's standing over there, but
in a 3-0 match, you can start to play favorites here and maybe give a reward. Very close to the Riverhounds' second PK in 3 matches, but instead, it's about a 19-yarder.
Yeah, that's a tough spot, actually, to try and get the ball up over the wall and down when you're that close.
That's why if somebody with some kind of lethal left foot, you know, that.
Unless the wall's going to duck, you know.
The Hounds don't have a goal from outside the box this season. Forbes is going to try. And I don't know if he was going for Fitzpatrick or trying to bury one himself, but either way, it didn't work.
He was trying. I think he was trying to scare the wall into breaking there, like winding up, taking such a long run. And
oh my, that's way out of touch.
Didn't really
by
catch
William
it
again.
Rough night for Miko Williams. His 38 MLS appearances, played for Colorado Rapids.
There will be a 20-minute autograph session on the field following tonight's game.
Using the bottom of his cleat there was Dabo, but he couldn't connect.
As a reminder, no food, drinks, or soccer balls are
Bonky
permitted.
Azil has to hustle to try to slide that past Fernando. And Fernando did well.
Yeah, I think
you might go and pick up on the crowd mic here. We have some arguments.
I thought that was a...
They've given it to Richmond. I thought it was off of Richmond last.
Boy.
Close call here on the touchline. 86th minute, the Riverhounds lead on 2 goals from Brett and an insurance marker from Ben Fitzpatrick. It's a good job from Gonzalez to fire.
Great recovery from Greenspan there to block that.
Yeah,
did well because Gonzalez got him on a move, but then Greenspan recovered really nicely and blocked that.
Blocking specialist.
Leads the team in clears per game, and he's racked up a few blocks. With that frame, you'd expect it. Formerly of the Naval Academy, Joe Greenspan in a substitute's role here. First of 2 games this week. Dan Lind.
Good punch out this time.
Preserving his clean sheet.
Paul, I mean,
oh, look.
They took no chance.
Brett was wrapped up a bit.
Well, you got Young back there because we could have got that ball actually and kept going, I think, if he'd made his mind up. But
this is what the Riverhounds want to do. They want to defend hard and they want to counterattack hard. And boy, we've seen that in the second half. Great switch of play, wasn't it, from Forbes?
Yeah, very good.
He's going to catch this, I
Running
think.
on Dover. Keeps it in. And Nate Spangenberg work to come off his line.
But here comes Bonky Azil shutting down Fernando.
Luis Fernando Nascimento, full name. Fernando, well, he was run into and, well, he had his pass just driven right back in his face by Greenspan. Very clean play from Big Joe, number 20. Prasner heads. Forbes helps. So the Riverhounds a couple of minutes away from their 6th win on home turf. 10th win overall. They'll improve to 10-3-7. And they'll get back into 3rd place in the East.
I think Bob wants to make sure that they don't let Richmond get back in here with a goal because they're putting some pressure on now, and I think it's important for him, defense, you know.
Well, Dan Lind's looking for his 10th.
They want to come out with another clean sheet at home.
Exactly,
especially and lock down the game. And right now it's all about managing these last few minutes, because they've done very well since they.
Sure.
It really even was 1-0. They were doing well, and then they got the second one. And after the second one, Richmond kind of again got a little bit rattled, a little bit disconnected. Allowed them to get a third. Hounds had a couple other chances. And I think now the Hounds are just trying to see it out.
Quite the opportunity ahead for the Riverhounds. They'll make up one of those games in hand. Eaton was trying to stay on side here. We'll get back to that in a moment. But Bolduc takes this pass, steps into the 18, now steps back out and drives one. Hit the outside of the netting.
Yeah, but Danny Lynn had that.
Yeah, he had it covered there.
He had it covered.
Would have been impossible to beat him, I think.
Yep. Dove out to be sure, but it was side netting all the way.
But I think it's important for him too, Gino, with having 2 losses in the last 2 games, keeping it 0.
Exactly.
And, obviously, I think the players should be working hard to do that for him.
So the Hounds will take care of it here tonight. They'll have Toronto last in the East, as we mentioned, with a win to their credit finally on Saturday.
Oh, good job by Fitzpatrick there.
Keeping it in and lost it after the collision with Troyer. Forbes, just no nonsense, sends it out. Then a road match at Bethlehem Steel, then 2 more home games in a span of a week. Charlotte and Tampa Bay, 2 teams out of the playoff field in the East. Lynn just moments away from taking the outright lead in clean sheets in the USL. Fitzpatrick continues to battle. Another takeaway for Big Ben.
Yeah, he's had a good few minutes, and not just with a goal, but a nice impact coming in the game. Yeah.
He checked in the 77th. He scored in the 81st. It's been all good for a short period of time. So Fitzpatrick trying to find his confidence.
I'm guessing there's a couple of minutes extra time, that's all. I could see you the.
There you go.
Just a couple added on. In fact, that's the word from the sideline.
Paul, you got it. You nailed it again.
I should play the lottery.
He's got a good feel for these things, ladies and gentlemen. Stoppage time guesser Paul Child. Could be a nice carnival trick.
He was spying on that score stick.
I was looking down there on the table.
Could have been. We can see that from here. I'm just realizing.
Oh,
Williams
there.
Well, Brett has 10 goals now on the year, and 3 of them have come in multi-goal efforts. He has a hat trick, he has a pair of 2-goal games, and you know he's hunting one more if he can find it. Score them when you can. These games don't come around too often, as he had just found out over the past 6 weeks or so.
Yep.
It went dry for Nico Brett, but not tonight. He had the finishing touch right from the start.
I'm sure it feels great to him. It's been a while, and for him to get back in the scoring column and get a brace, that's terrific night for Nico Brett.
Mohamed Dabo. As night falls over in that darker corner of Highmark Stadium. Dover works it free. Frankie has Brett, but Frankie caught in between there. That was somewhere between a cross and a shot.
Yeah, Nico's standing at the penalty spot.
Yeah,
saying, I'm here, man.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes they play crossing the ball needs that movement just to say, okay, is he going to the near post, or is he staying on the spot? Is he going to go to the far? Just that, ESP.
Not sure what the
referee Murphy has stopped play.
Murphy's looks like he's telling, yeah, it's a drop ball, and he's telling the Hounds to play it back to Richmond.
Didn't catch what caused that, but we're right at the end. Just a footnote on this one. Brett with 2 goals, Fitzpatrick with another. We received word there was a non-player on the field. Ball kid, perhaps? Maybe he stepped out, got in the way. Yeah, there is the ball kid over on the far wing who just let the ball fall out of his grasp. Forbes, he had Brett breaking, and they wanted that all-Jamaican connection for the second time, but not to be. Have to imagine we're down to the final ticks. Charles Murphy will make the call in just a moment. Dabo continues to work right to the final whistle. There it is. Hounds win. Hounds win. They get back on the winning track, and they get an appreciative hand from the home fans at Highmark Stadium. 3-0 for Pittsburgh over Richmond. They take both matchups in this Old Guard USL collision as raindrops begin to fall, but nothing's raining on Dan Lynn's parade. 10 clean sheets, most in the USL, and he has tied the Riverhounds' single-season record. He is now even with Randy Dedini and Hunter Gilstrap. 10 shutouts and still 14 matches to go on the season.
That's 2 legends of the club right there, Hunter and our old friend Randy Dedini. So it's great to see for Danny Lynn.
We'll talk more about that, go over the match after this break on ESPN+.
The Riverhounds Technical Training Academy is back this winter at the AHN Sports Complex at Cool Springs. The 15-session program runs from December to March and is loaded with skills development taught by professional players from around the world. Registration opens in August. Sessions begin December 1st. Find out more by emailing wintertraining@riverhounds.com or by calling 412-325-7238.
It's so unfair. You just feel stripped of being a woman, not being able to have a child. Or they had told me that I can't have kids naturally. It was just like waterworks.
Yeah, what's it like being pregnant?
But it's an amazing thing to know that I don't have all of the things to make a baby, but I still made this baby.
I mean, it really is a miracle. I mean,
seriously.
Call 412 Doctors for an appointment with a fertility expert at Allegheny Health Network.
Don't miss out on any of the action from the Pittsburgh Riverhounds this summer. It's First Responder Night on Saturday, August 18th, when the Hounds face off against the Charlotte Independents for a 7 p.m. match. All active and retired first responders will receive a free ticket, plus a special discount offer to all family and friends. Then on Wednesday, August 22nd, the Tampa Bay Rowdies come to town for a special Wednesday showdown at 7 p.m. Gates open at 5:30 p.m. Purchase your tickets at riverhounds.com.
Park stuck the landing.
The Riverhounds start a busy August, especially here at home, and about as fine a fashion as you could imagine. There you see it, 3-0 over the Richmond Kickers. 2 goals in the second half. 2 goals from Nico Brett overall tonight, helping to decide matters at Highmark Stadium. Bob Lilly with the post-game chat we've gotten used to here in his first season in charge of the Riverhounds. Let's look at those highlights, in fact. And the trouble started early for Richmond, and especially for Miko Williams on the back line. He could not contain Brett here, potentially offside. Also, Shinosky getting in there, unable to stop Brett from burying.
Yeah, a little bit flick went off Shinosky. Miko Brett caught behind him, and they couldn't close him down, and he was able to finish that one really well.
Right in front of the Steel Army, always a crowd pleaser, Nico Brett. A deflected ball from Frankie. This led to an opportunity for Dover.
Yeah, he didn't quite catch that right. Got over the top of it, and would have loved to have really caught that. I would have thought to get some power on it.
Well, the Riverhounds probably felt like they could have had another one in the first half, but, well, it didn't work out, so we go to the second half. And here's a burst from Noah Frankie. Excellent game for him. Just barely offside was Brett, despite burying it.
I think that was very, very close, that one.
Very close.
That might have been, in fact, a missed call.
Yep.
All right, so Francois gets around the edge.
This is a fantastic move there, and still got a shot away. The speed.
Yeah, that was his best
Francois,
chance.
no points on the night, I don't think, right? But, but he was dangerous all night and really gave him fits on that left flank.
Well, he made the play to get it to Forbes on this. The 69th minute goal from Brett that, if not salted this one away, put the Riverhounds in a very comfortable position. And there's Forbes again with his second assist of the night. Ben Fitzpatrick all the way in and dinks it in off the pipe with Brett there to clean it up if need be. A goal for Fitzpatrick in his 4th minute of the season, first appearance. And possession still went to Richmond, but that's the only thing that went to Richmond tonight. 15 shots for the Riverhounds. That's 35 in 2 matches against the Kickers this season. They did what they wanted to do against their old rival here this year. 9 shots on target, too. That's right up there among the season highs for the Riverhounds. And as for Richmond, the struggles continue, now winless in 4 and now 1-8 away from City Stadium. So a fun night for a midweek crowd. The Wednesday night crowd is rewarded now with a cooling shower, in fact. There's Ben Fitzpatrick taking a selfie with the Steel Army.
Yep.
Well, feel-good stuff for the Riverhounds tonight, gentlemen. I'm Matt Geiger with Paul Child and Gene Klein. We'll be back with you in just 3 days' time on Saturday as the Hounds host Toronto FC2. But final thoughts, gentlemen, on what turned out to be a slump-busting win.
Well, I thought the Hounds really got off to a great start and did a great job closing Richmond down and taking chances.
Yeah, and Richmond's going to have to work a little bit harder. They got to get back into it and organize themselves defensively.
We'll see you on Saturday. Good night.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League may not be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.